For creating any component, I first need to select a plane on which I have to draw entities. So I'm going to the origin and I'm switching on this button so that I can see my origin. If I expand the origin, I can see XY, XZ and YZ planes. So I'm selecting this plane for drawing my figure. I can select the plane and then click on Create Sketch, or I can go for Create Sketch and then click on the plane on which I have to draw. So you can see now I'm in a 2D environment. So I'm going to sketch. In this sketch, I'm choosing a rectangle. If I have to draw a rectangle, I can also go for the line entity and draw 4 lines. But I have this ready-made option called rectangle. So here, for drawing the rectangle, I have 3 options. It's a 2-point rectangle, 3-point rectangle, or center rectangle. What center rectangle does is, I have to first select the center. I'm clicking here, you can see. Now I am being prompted to select a center point for the rectangle. I'm selecting this midpoint. That is the origin. So when I drag the mouse outside, after clicking in the middle, you can see that my rectangle is being formed. I can give another click anywhere on this plane. Now you can see I have this rectangle. These are called the constraints that you are seeing here. We'll discuss about this in the coming videos. Now, to come out of this option, I can click Escape. That is, I can come out of the rectangle command by clicking Escape, or I can right click and say OK. So now I'm no more in this rectangle option. When I have to select this rectangle, I only need to draw a box using my mouse. That is by clicking and dragging it around it. Now I need to give dimensions for this rectangle that I've drawn. So I can click on Sketch, Sketch Dimensions, or I can just click the shortcut key D in my keyboard. So I'm selecting D. You can see how my cursor has changed. It is showing that now we are going to give dimensions. So I'm clicking on this line for which I need to give the length. So after clicking, just move out to see this dimension. You can click it again. Now you're ready to edit it. I'm giving it 100. Then coming to this height, I can again do the same thing. And here, in fact, I need a square and not a rectangle. So I'm going to click again 100. So now you can see, before giving these dimensions, my screen was showing some blue lines. That is, my dimensions are not complete. For example, just undo and check. Here you can see there are 2 blue lines. I'm going to do undo again. Just Ctrl Z for clicking on undo. Now you can see my whole rectangle was previously in blue color. After giving dimensions, it has slowly started becoming black. I can click cancel to come out of the dimension tool. You can see when I'm dragging this, I'm able to drag it because I did not give any dimensions for this. So it is free to move. But when I give the dimension for this line will change into black. That is, I won't be able to move it in this direction. If you want, you can see this black line over here. When I drag it here, I'm not able to do it because I've already given the dimension as 100. So it has to obey the rule. Now I'm going to give the dimension. I'm again clicking D and I'm taking D. So here you can see I'm entering 100. So far so good. Now my rectangle is fully constrained. What I mean by fully constrained is when I click on any point now, I won't be able to move my figure here and there. It's fully constrained and it will remain there even if I drag it here and there. Okay. Now you can click on Stop Sketch. That is, from the 2D environment, we are going back to our 3D environment. So when you click on Stop Sketch, you can see that my figure is still here. So if you want to see the isometric view, you can go and click on this Home tool. Okay. Now you can see I'm zooming out using my roller. So here I can see my square. Now I'm going to create. In this create, I'm selecting extrude. E is the shortcut key for extrude. When I click on extrude, the first thing it is prompting me to do is to select a profile which I need to extrude. So I'm clicking on this profile. For extruding, I always need a closed profile. This is very important. I always need a closed profile for extruding it. So now I can pull this arrow mark or I can enter a distance over here. Now I'm pulling it so that you can see in the real time how this box is being formed. So for me, I need it 15 mm. I can enter the value over here or I can even enter it over here. Okay, so you can see here a new body is being formed. Okay, so I can either pull it in this direction or I can also pull it in the other direction. Now you can see my dimension has changed to negative. But I want to keep it positive so that it is being extruded above the plane. So again I'm going to enter it as 15. Now I'm clicking OK. There are other options that you have seen in extrude. We will come to them later. So now, congratulations, you have created your first object in Fusion 360. So this image is going to give us kind of a roadmap on where we are and where we have to reach. So here in this image you can see we have created this seat. That is, this part of it has been created. Now I need another portion where we actually lay back when we are sitting. So for creating this, what I can do is I can select a plane. I can select a plane which is already there, or I can select a plane by choosing the face that has been created. So these are the faces that have been created. So I can choose this face as my sketching. So now I'm selecting this face and going to create sketch. Now you can see how it has already aligned itself. So now this is going to be my top view. Here you can see it has aligned as top. Now I can go to rectangle again. But this time I'm choosing a 2-point rectangle. When I click here, you can see first point that it is asking me to hold is the point from where my rectangle is going to start. So I'm clicking for the first point over here, and when I'm dragging it, you can see it is trying to snap to some other. So here I'm trying to snap it till here. Now again it is showing a blue line. That means if I say okay, I'm trying to come out of this rectangle command, I'm easily able to drag this. That means this part which is in black is totally constrained. I won't be able to move this black line anywhere because it is totally fixed to the existing figure. But this blue line has to be constrained. So I'm going for D and giving this dimension. Now it is showing the angle of 90 degrees which I not actually need. So I'm going to click cancel. Now Again I'm going for D and selecting these two lines. Here you can see it is showing 21, which I am changing to 15. Now go to Stop Sketch and go to the isometric view. Here again I am going to create Extrude. Instead I can select this profile, which is getting selected because it's a closed surface. Now I'm going to create an extrude. So here I can again pull it. So here I need it for about, this is 15, this is, I'll make it around 85, so that even this remains 100. Okay, so I'm going to make it 85. I'm clicking OK. So now you can see, coming back to my figure, I have created this back structure also. Now you can see the curvature over here. I can either cut it that way or I can use a new tool. So here I'm going to modify and clicking on fillet. What this fillet does is it will create an arc at the corner. So I'm clicking this edge and I'm turning my figure using the rotate tool and clicking on this edge. So because two edges have been clicked at the same time, I can modify this dimension which will be applicable to both these edges. So here, because this is total one is 100, I'm going to give it as 50. So you can see now the radius is 50. I'm clicking OK. And here you have the scene. Now I need to create the legs. We can refer to the image for next step. I have to create the legs on the bottom face. Now for the sketching plane, I can either select this plane or I can even select this face. It's easier for me to select this face. So I'm clicking on that face and going to create sketch. Now if it's easier for you, you can switch to wireframe. Okay, now you can see that this is my back and this is the front of the scene. So I'm going to take again a rectangle. Here I'm going to snap to this point and here I'm clicking it randomly at some place. Now I'm going to decide what my dimension will be for this leg. So here it is showing 17. I'll take it as 15. And again for this line again to constrain it fully, I'm giving it as 15. So now it is fully constrained. You can do the same thing on the other three corners also. But here we're going to learn another tool. We are going to learn a new tool that is called rectangular pattern, in which we are going to pattern this rectangle horizontally as well as vertically. So go to sketch and go to this rectangular pattern. Now I need to select the objects that have to be patterned. I am box selecting it by clicking it and dragging the mouse so that I cover all these objects. So now you can see it is showing me including the points, so that is the reason it is showing 9. In which direction I need to pattern, it is asking me. So this blue line, if you can see here, if I drag it over here, it is showing the other rectangles which should be formed. So here the quantity that you are going to enter will include the base rectangle also. So if you need total 2, it will not create these two, but it will create additionally here also. That is the existing also it is counting. So say 2. Now this distance, what is this distance? 70 mm. This is the extent, that is within 70 mm it is going to create two objects. That is the distance within the 70 mm it will create 2, 3, 4, 5. how many ever quantity you want. If I'm changing it here, you can see 5 I'm going to create within 70 mm. But I need only 2. And here there is another. If I know the spacing between 2 rectangles, I can select this one. So I'm selecting actually the spacing. So now the distance become, because if the quantity is 2 anyway, it is going to be the same, the extent and spacing, but if the quantity increases, the value will be different. So here I'm going to move it over here. You can see it is 80, I'm making it 85. This is the distance between this line and this line, which we know that is 85, because the distance between this line and this line should be 15, right? So in the same way, I can have it in the other direction. Now it is showing the direction as this, but I need it in the other direction. As the default is 3, I'm making it as 2. And the distance is again, of course, minus 85. Okay, so I can click OK. Clicking OK, then I'm going to stop sketch. And again I'm going for my home option. So now that these 4 things are selected, what I'm going to do is, let me come back to solid, that is shaded, and here I can clearly see my profiles. So I can select all these 4 by pressing Ctrl. Okay, now I'm clicking on E and I'm dragging all at a time. You can do them one by one also. So to the extent which I want, I can drag them. 70 looks perfect for me, so I'm going to stop at 70. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is, these edges are too sharp, so if someone sits on them, they might get hurt. So I'm going to add a fillet. I'm again going to modify and clicking on fillet. So I'm going to select all these edges. You can see here it's showing constant radius. I can select these legs also. And here I'm going to give at least 5 mm. So it is well rounded, or probably I can little bit reduce it to 3 mm. Okay, so here you can see there are 3 edges that are intersecting over here. They're actually meeting over here. So what kind of fillet I need over here, I can decide. Now it is showing rolling ball. Observe carefully this area when I'm clicking here. It is called the setback. So it is going to change. So whichever fillet I need, I can give it. I'm going for setback. So even this side now it has become setback. There is an advantage of selecting all the edges at once, because I can edit them later easily. All of them at a time I can edit. Editing, of course, we'll see in the coming video. Now my chair is ready. I'll give a different fillet over here because it has to be much more smoother, I feel. So I'll go to modify, give a fillet here. Now the radius I want is around 10. Let me see if it does. See here the error message. The fillet or chamfer could not be created at the requested size. So that is not possible. So I'll give it around 6 and see. Well, it is possible. I'll try to make it 8. Even then it's not possible, so I'll just stick to 6. And then I'll say OK. Okay, so here you are. Your chair is almost ready. Now I need to add color to it. So what I'm going to do is I'll click on A, Appearances. Okay, click on A on your keyboard and Appearances dialog box opens. So here you can see I have different materials that I can add, different colors that I can add. And this I can add to either faces or to the complete component. So here I can drag this to see all the other options that are available. I'm going to directly go to paint and give some glossy texture to it. So I'm selecting yellow color. And this origin doesn't look good, so I'm just switching it off, and here is my chair that is ready. So I'm clicking close to close this box. I can again switch it off, this origin. Now I feel I need to give some texture over here, a hole kind of thing, so that it's easy for me to hold this chair when I carry it here and there. So I'm selecting this as my sketching plane, and I'm going for create sketch. Instead of a rectangle and all, I'm going to sketch and sketch a spline. What this spline does is I can create curvatures randomly. So I can click on one point, then the other, then the other, then the other. On any desired shape I can click and I can make a spline. Then join it to the starting point and double click it to end this option. Now I can right click and say OK to come out of spline. You can see how nice different curvatures I can make. The possibilities are endless when you're going with spline. Here you can see the points that where I have clicked while making the spline. So on this point what I can do is I can hold this point and I can drag it here and there to change my shape. I can also alter its tangency. If you would double click over here, you can see this green line. So this I can alter the tangency over here. If I feel that there should be one more point where, because I need these 2 points here and I have to lift this curve, what I can do is I can click here, right click and say insert spline fit point. So here I can click the place where I need this point. So I'm clicking it here. So here you can see another point has been created which I can move freely. I hope spline option is clear to you. Now I'm going to stop sketch. As this is a closed figure, again I can select this face and go to extrude. This time instead of a new body, I'm going for cut. I'm going to cut it and make an hole in this chair. So I can pull it over here. It is showing in red that it has cut. Instead of giving a distance, what I'm going to do is click on the distance. You will find other objects. It is saying all. Because I need a through cut, I can select all. So how much ever material is available over here, it is going to cut through that material. Now I'm clicking OK. So here you can see I have added this slot kind of thing to my chair. So here is the chair that we have designed. We know how this has been designed. First we had taken a 2D sketch of a rectangle or a square, you can see. Then we have extruded it and added the other parts. But suppose if your friend has done this, how are you going to know how this has been designed? So for this, actually Fusion 360 has a very good option. Have a look at these icons that I've found below. If you had observed, they were being created as you were creating the features. So here, the first one, when you're clicking on that, you can see that this is the sketch that I have done. Then I have extruded it. Then another sketch, extrude. I had made the fillet. Then again I had clicked the sketches for legs. Then again I have extruded. So all the operations that I have performed for making this chair have been recorded. This you can call as history. Now if I'm going to this tool, here you can see this line, I can go back in my history. Suppose I'm just placing this in the very beginning. You can see I don't have anything. Now I can play and see how this has been made. Isn't it fantastic? And now these sketches and all are also being recorded in the browser. In the browser, if you see, I can expand the sketches. Here it has been recording all the sketches. The one below the origin is bodies. So this whole component has been made as a single body. These are called the faces. But this whole thing is just one body. If I want, I could have created them as different bodies, that is legs as different and this back seat as different. But I wanted it as one entity. We'll see in the later videos how we can create them as different bodies. And this all is, if you can see this icon, my name is appearing. This is the solid body that I have created. The title has come here. Now how to edit this chair? Suppose I need to alter the length of these legs. How am I going to do? So what you can do is you can just click over here. You can see the symbol of extrude. When I'm clicking, it is showing me, and also it gets highlighted in this window. So the first one is this extrude, second one is the back extrusion. Now I have come to the right extrusion which I need to edit. That is the height of these legs. So what I can do is I can go to this extrusion, right click on it, and I'll get an option, edit feature. So I'm going to edit the feature, and here you can see my history has been rolled to this item. Now it is showing it only till here and it is not showing the fillets that I have made after that. Here I can alter the height. I can either do pull or push, and then I'll keep it as 75. Okay, so now again I can make other changes also. Like I can enter a taper angle, which I don't need it right now. Okay, so I can completely edit this feature, and then I'll click OK. So now you can see that my whole body has again been regenerated. So all the other options remain same. These fillets and all that I've added have now been added to my new legs, but only the height has changed. Similarly, I can edit any feature available over here. So I can right click and I'll say edit feature, and I can alter the radius over here. If I'm going for this edit feature, you can see all the edges that I have selected during filleting, all of them can be altered easily from here. I can give it as 4. You can see the difference. It dynamically changes. I can give it as 2. I'll say OK, and everything gets regenerated very easily. So here it is showing an error. If it is not possible, then it shows an error. Sorry, I have given it as 6. Because I made it as 2, I need to make some changes to this, as it is not allowing me to do anything. Okay, I'll try to give it as 4. Now it is accepting and everything is fine. Sometimes some other features might fail because of the changes that I have made here. So then it will show it in yellow color. and it will highlight the features which have failed. Suppose if I have altered the spline, the complete structure might change. Now let us try to do that and see. Now this is a spline that I have created. I need to edit this sketch. I want it as through hole, but I want to alter the shape of it. So what I can do is, I can select the sketch from here. I do not know which sketch it is, so I'm selecting all these sketches. So this is the place, I'm highlighting it. You can see this is the sketch that I need to alter. So I'll right click on this sketch 4 and go for edit sketch. Now I can alter the shape of it by dragging these points, and then I'll say stop sketch. You can see everything has regenerated. I can again switch it off. All these sketches are by default switched off, that is, they are hidden once an operation is performed on that sketch. But they are available, so you can always switch them on and see how you can alter them.